Praise the Lord, everybody. How you doing today? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hi, my name is Bishop Eddie Gross, and welcome to Equipped for Destiny, the podcast where we are equipping progressive-minded believers for destiny. I want to say to you, happy 2020. I know you're probably saying, "Wait a minute, Bishop, man, it's almost the end of January. Where you been?" Yeah, we're a little late on the scene. Little late on the scene. Have had a lot going on, man, here at home. I've been working a lot lately with getting my wife's business, man, on a good solid ground. We're seeing some great things occurring through her coaching practice. We're just seeing God just move in such an incredible way through her, and she's had some wonderful speaking engagements here and closing out of 2019 and even more here for 2020. We had a wonderful event in September of last year. We had Step Into Freedom Live. Wonderfully attended event. Man, you should have been there, man. Seeing just how God has used her in a tremendous way. So I've just kind of been kind of taking the back seat here for a while, and have had take just a little breather, man. I had to take a break. You know, I just want to put it out there, man. I needed to step back for a moment, man, and reassess some things, and I just want to say to you all that you're never wrong, man, by taking a moment and stepping back. Sometimes you need to step back in order to step forward. And so just need to take a season, man, to myself, man, and just get before God, let God speak to me and about some things. And actually, it's one of the things I want to come and talk to you tonight about. I want to talk to you about divine connection. And I think that it's important that we understand divine connection, because I believe that the season that we're going into now, I really sense that the difference between the level that you are now and the level that God's trying to take you to all hinges upon your making the right connections. And so I want to talk just a little bit about that tonight. I'm going to share with you from the word of the Lord about what he has placed in my spirit about divine connection. I want you to know this. I want you to know that you can never ascend any higher than the people that you are connected with. I ought to get an amen right there. You can go any higher. You can't go any deeper. You can't grow any larger. You cannot increase any greater than the people to whom you are connected with, whom you're divinely connected to. So for 2020, if you want to stay the same as you were in 2019, if you want to remain the same, just stay connected to the same people. That's all. Just keep doing the same things that you were doing. Okay, I'm being sarcastic, but you get my point. My point is that in order to do new, sometimes you have to find new. You have to connect with new. In order to do differently, you got to connect with that which is different. And so if everybody around you is doing the same thing you doing it, the same way you're doing it, the same time you're doing it, there's a sameness. Y'all look the same. Y'all talk the same. Your background is the same. Come on, somebody. Then where then is the challenge to grow? And so I want to talk a little bit tonight about divine connection, because I believe that if we really come to understand what God is doing and some of the challenges that we're having in the season that we're in, we'll come to understand that really what's happening is that God's shifting us. God's changing some things. God is changing the landscape. You don't build a house on, you don't just go out on just raw ground and build a house. Before you can begin to build, you gotta first do something with the foundation. You got to level the foundation. You almost got to tear up everything. You got to pull up trees. You get what I'm saying? There's dirt work that has to be done before a foundation can be laid. I want to suggest to you that I believe that we're all in a season where God is trying to. It looks like things are being torn up. Looks like things are being pulled apart. Looks like God is kind of wiping things away. But what he's really doing is he's trying to prepare the ground to lay a different foundation. And if you're trying to keep everything that's familiar to you, or you're trying to keep everyone who's familiar to you, then you don't give room for God to come through and allow him to give you new connections with new people that'll bring you to a higher level and to a deeper knowledge and to broaden your tents and your territory. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right. So I just want to share something with you very quickly. First of all, Bishop, when you talk about divine connection, what do you mean by divine connection? Okay. All right. So what I'm talking about the principle of agreement. Let me give you some background. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 18, 19 to 20, I want to read this. He says, if two of you agree on earth, it will be done by my Father in heaven. For where two or three are gathered in my name, he said, then there I'll be in the midst. Let me just deal with that. The principle of agreement means that what he promised us is that where there's two or three, right, who are in agreement, touching and agreeing in his name, meaning that we're agreeing on heaven's priorities. He says, then I will be in the midst, meaning that they will have the benefit once they agree, they come together in agreement, then agree with heaven's priority. He says, now then they have the benefit of my presence, which represents kingdom's provisions. So agreement is so important because who you are in agreement with depends upon whether or not you're in alignment with heaven's priorities and whether or not you get the benefit of heaven's provisions. Do you get what I'm saying? So that brings us to the issue of divine connection. So divine connection isn't what we think it is. Or many stuff we talk about in church is not really divine connection. I just want to just keep it real. You know, sometimes it's just people you know. It ain't really a divine connection. I'm going to get in trouble right through here, Bishop. What I'm saying is, listen, if you've had to hobnob with the right people, if you've had to try to get in with the right cliques and, if you've had to leverage some favors, to get in the right row and to get in the right seat, that's not divine. That's you. That's a connection based upon your own humanistic efforts. Let me tell you when divine connection occurs. Divine connection occurs, right, in a grace moment. Nothing you planned, nothing you did. You really wasn't even supposed to be there. That's really not where you were supposed to be sitting. You didn't actually have a ticket to the event. You didn't even know the person you connected with was going to be there. That's what I mean by divine grace moments. When God brings you somewhere and you come in the presence of people that it didn't have anything to do with you. It was just a favor of God that put you in the right place at the right time. That is divine connection. Let me give you my backdrop that I'm talking about. So in Genesis chapter 40, Joseph is in jail. Remember that? Joseph gets put in jail. He gets put in jail. He goes from the pit to Potiphar to prison before he goes to the palace. So right now he's in prison. He's in prison. And the word says that the chief butler and the chief baker got thrown into prison as well. So now you see divine, a grace connection, because first of all, it didn't have anything to do with Joseph being there. Didn't have anything necessarily to do with their being there. It was God's orchestrating them being in the right place at the right time. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Divine connection comes, man, through a grace moment. And so when you come into a divine connection, because God orchestrates your being there. And watch this now. And then there's just a connection that happens in spirit. Connection in spirit. It's like that David connection with Saul's son. It just happens, man. It's just a connection of kindred spirit. You get to talking and you come to understand, man, you both got the same priorities and you feel the same way about some things and you feel like you've known them. It's just this easiness in the exchange. Let me help you. Anytime you're talking to someone and it's laborious to talk to them, that's not a divine connection. A divine connection is not when another person folds their arms and vets you. I want you to prove to me that you deserve to be in my presence. That's not divine. That's demonic. But anyway, I digress. And so divine connection occurs when there's a meeting of the spirit. There's a meeting of the spirit. Now, there's a divine association. There's a grace moment that creates a divine connection. Watch this now. How then do I know? This is what I want to get to. How then do I know whether or not the connection is really divine? You cannot see it with your eyes because it's going to all look the same. Preach, Bishop. In other words, when Joseph was in prison, both the baker and the cupbearer was in jail. So you can't look by the humanistic eye to make a determination as to which of these people are my divine connection. Come on, somebody. And so what has to happen is you have to look not by your eyes, you got to see by your spirit. Both of them looked like they wasn't going nowhere. Come on, somebody. Both of them looked like they were in a bad situation. And matter of fact, if you were to look at the situation the way we look at divine connections today, Joseph would have looked at them like, I don't know why I need to be yoked with you. You in the same situation I'm in. What you got to offer me? We all in this prison together. I'm looking for somebody who can elevate me to the next level. I'm looking for somebody who's already where I'm trying to go. See how he would have missed it if he would have looked with his natural eyes. But watch this now. In order for you to know who you need to connect with, you have to determine who's the baker and who's the cupbearer. Come on, somebody. And if you make the wrong decision, if you connect with the baker, baby, you ain't going nowhere. You cannot get this wrong. You gotta connect with the right people, because if you don't, it won't kill your ministry. It won't kill what you're doing, but baby, it will set it back. It will hold you back because you can't grow any higher. You can't go any deeper. You can't go any broader than the people that you were connected with. Joseph had to look in the spirit and see which one of these people was going somewhere. Which one of these people I should sow into? Which one of these people I should serve? Which one of these people I should connect with? Which one of these people should I yoke with? And so he made a decision based on what he saw in the spirit, not with his eyes. Come on, somebody. Watch this, and I'm going home. Watch this. Divine impartation. The reason you know whether or not the connection is of God or not is that there will be a mutual impartation. Joseph sold into the cupbearer, and the cupbearer sold into Joseph. Come on, somebody. Joseph said, when it all goes well with you, and when you're standing back before Pharaoh, he says, don't forget about me. He says, don't forget about me. In fact, he said, remember me when you go back before Pharaoh. There's a mutual benefit when you're divinely connected. If it's all going one way, that's not divine. It ought to be a traversing of impartation. Now, impartation and benefit should go equally in each direction. You can't be always the person pursuing. You can't be the person always trying to keep it alive. You can't be the person always trying to hold it together. If you are the one who's always got to hold it together, reach out, pursue, call, find out, that is not divine. That is not divine connection. That is not mutual impartation. Mutual impartation is when both people have an appreciation of each other. And there's a give and there's a take. There's an ebb and a flow. There's a I sow into you, you sow into me. There's a I correct you, you correct me. There's a I want to speak a word into your life. There's a you speak a word into mine. But as long as it's all going one way, that's not divine connection. All right, I'm going home. Watch this. In 2020, I want you to make a declaration, a decree, that you will not pursue connections that are not divinely given to you by God. and you know that God is taking you somewhere. You know that there's a destiny for you. You know what's in you. You know who you are. You know whose you are. You know where you're going. Only pursue those connections that are divinely given to you by God. If it's frustrating you, if it's driving you nuts, hey, if you're not getting anything out of it, if you're doing all the giving, making an assessment. And at the appropriate time, and you see this connection is not divinely orchestrated by God, cut it off. Or better yet, put it in its proper perspective. I have to be nice. My wife tells me sometimes, Bishop, be nice. So, okay, don't cut them off. Just put it in its proper perspective. Only pursue those connections that's going to put you where you need to be. I'm going to say this last thing and I'm going. Watch this. Joseph's gift didn't get him out of prison. It was the cupbearer's influence that got him before Pharaoh. In other words, when you connect with the right people, right circumstances, they're going to bring you up. In fact, they're going to reach back and make sure that you're with them. You ain't got to beg. You ain't got to buy them. You ain't got to negotiate, because you are yoked in spirit. They're not going to want to arise and you not arise with them. Anybody who can arise in success and watch you stay where you are, come on, somebody. Nah, that's not a divine connection. All right, I just wanted to share with you a little bit. I know it's been a while, right? Again, my name is Bishop Eddie Gross, and I am so happy, amen, to have an opportunity to sow into your life tonight. This is the Equipped for Destiny podcast, where we are equipping progressive-minded people, man, for their destiny. If you hadn't had an opportunity, man, check us out, man, on the web at equippedfordestiny.org. We have a lot of resources there for you. The intent of this ministry, man, is that we want to sow into the lives of people who are trying to go somewhere. There's no fanfare. There's no foolishness, man, with us. We just don't have time for that. We're really trying to reach out to people who know what's in them, know who they are, and know that they're trying to go somewhere. And so we're not trying to do church as usual. I'm not out here just trying to make a name for myself. I'm not, just promoting myself, trying to, it's none of that. This is my opportunity to serve according to the gift that God's given me. And so you can also find us right here on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Equipped for Destiny. We're also on Twitter as well. We have a YouTube channel as well, Equipped for Destiny. We have a podcast also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And so wherever you consume your podcast, you can find us at equippedfordestiny.org. Listen, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. I just pray that as we continue to go into 2020, I'm believing, amen, that God's going to continue to do great and awesome things through your life. I pray that he stresses you, stretch you, pull you, make you uncomfortable as he continues to shape you in the image of his son, and that the destiny that God has for you will come forth and manifest full-fold. God bless you. Thank you again. Love you. Amen. And may God continue to smile upon you. Keep me in your prayers. All right. God bless you. Bye-bye.